I believe Kevin and Don were near the tracks that night and saw either money or drugs dropped from an airplane. I believe that law enforcement officers killed them, and the cover-up began immediately. Expanded to the medical examiner, Fahmy Malak.
At the time, Fahmy Malak, Arkansas State Medical Examiner, was the one responsible for ruling on cause of death. His plan was to rule the boy's death a double suicide. However, after conferring with Jim Steed, Saline County Sheriff, they decided no one would accept such a ruling and changed the cause of death to accidental.
We were absolutely puzzled and outraged over the ruling of accidental as a manner of death. We didn't think that the facts supported that ruling, and what we started out to do was just to obtain a second opinion. We met resistance from all fronts, from law enforcement, from the crime lab. We retained an attorney and a private investigator and obtained court orders to get testable samples of everything that they had in order to get a second opinion, and Fahmy Malak refused to obey the court orders.
Without any supporting evidence, Malak ruled that the boys had each smoked more than 20 marijuana cigarettes, and in a psychedelic stupor had fallen asleep on the tracks. It was later learned that the state crime lab never even tested for the concentration of marijuana, and in fact, had used a test on the boy's blood which was designed to be used on urine. Outside experts were shocked at the absurd ruling. The family's nightmare battle against the state medical examiner was made more difficult by Governor Clinton's public support of Malak. However, after 13 long months, the parents were finally able to prove what they had believed all along, that the boys had indeed been murdered.
17-year-old Kevin Ives and 16-year-old Don Henry were struck by a train near Alexander. The medical examiner has said that the boys were asleep and drugged with marijuana. The parents, however, disputed that claim and persuaded authorities to reopen the case.
Because of their persistence, Kevin and Don's bodies were exhumed. New autopsies were performed, and a grand jury was convened. Dr. Joseph Burton, a nationally recognized forensic pathologist from out of state, performed the new autopsies. His findings revealed that Don Henry had been stabbed in the back, and Kevin Ives' face had been smashed by a blow from a rifle butt before their bodies were placed on the railroad tracks.
This information alone would strongly suggest that the boys were injured, rendered unconscious, or even killed prior to their bodies being run over by the train.
Burton's autopsies also revealed that Malak had mutilated Kevin's skull by sawing it in so many different directions that it was impossible to tell where the original skull fractures were. Malak also had completely dismantled Kevin's jawbones. Burton stated he had performed thousands of autopsies and had never seen anything like it. Was Malak trying to hide something?
Was there stabbed? The answer is no, they were not stabbed. Were they dead beforehand? Absolutely no, they were alive.
A former employee at the crime lab has said he discovered what appeared to be evidence of a stab wound during the original autopsy, but was told, quote, not to worry about it. Malak has refused all comment.
The deaths of these two boys most probably were not accidental deaths, but that they met their death as a result of injuries inflicted on them by other people or another person.
In addition to Burton, 2 other forensic pathologists and 7 forensic investigators with more than 100 years accumulated experience investigating homicides reviewed the case. It was their collective opinion that the ruling be changed to murder.
During the midst of all of the turmoil with trying to get the ruling changed in our case, it became very apparent that this was not an isolated instance of an error in the ruling on the manner of death. There were many other cases statewide that we became aware of.
In 1992, the Los Angeles Times tallied more than 20 additional cases where Dr. Malak had falsified evidence and ruled incorrectly. One case involved the murder of Raymond Albright, who had been shot 5 times in the chest with a Colt .45. Incredibly, Malak had ruled suicide. Another involved James Dewey Milam, whose body was found without the head. In this case, Malak ruled the cause of death to be an ulcer. Although Milam's head had been clearly severed with a knife, Malak claimed the family pooch had bitten off the head, eaten the entire thing, and then regurgitated. Malak says he tested the dog's vomit and found traces of Milam's brain and skull. Unfortunately for Dr. Malak, Milam's head was later found. Malak, it turns out, had made up the entire story. Media coverage of Malak's dishonest rulings resulted in a massive public outcry, calling for his removal from office.
The medical examiner comes up and he has fabrication to where he has created his own evidence.
This is of a magnitude it could create a national scandal, and if necessary, it will.
I have work to
Dr.
do.
Malak, you know me.
I have work to do.
Excuse me, please. And you can say that you are honest. Dr. Malak.
Lying on his autopsy cases, lying in court. And he's not an honest person.
And why should he be prosecuted?
He should be prosecuted.
Nevertheless, both Governor Clinton and the Arkansas State Medical Examiner Commission Chairman, Jocelyn Elders, who had the power to remove Malak from office, not only insisted he remain, they gave him a raise.
Based on the facts I have, I really feel that Arkansas owes Dr. Malak a great debt and a real apology.
Today, the governor was asked if Malak should resign.
I don't think that's a decision that I should make based on what I now know.
It didn't matter what Malak did, whether it was perjure himself in court, fabricate evidence in murder trials, call coroners murderers. Clinton defended him by excusing it as being stressed out, overworked, and underpaid. His testimony compromised evidence in a lot of felony cases in Arkansas. And it was very transparent that Fahmy Malak had some kind of hold over Bill Clinton. The end result was that he was given a $14,000 raise. It was an absolute insult to my family.
Read my lips. I'm not going to comment.
I was outraged that protecting a political crony of Clinton's was more important than the fact that 2 young boys had been murdered.